Welcome to the Grimfrost Podcast. Today's guest is Martin Erikson, musician, entrepreneur, and one of the biggest Viking enthusiasts around. So, welcome to the Grimfrost Longhouse.
Wonderful, thank you so much.
Great to have you here. And for our international viewers, listeners, I'd like to tell them that you're actually one of the biggest stars or celebrities that we have here in Sweden.
Oh, very nice.
No, well, it's true.
Maybe,
it's true.
maybe I was many years ago.
Yeah, because like you are a Eurodance superstar in a way, right? And you had like since the 90s, you have like several super mega hits in all of Europe, right?
Yeah, I'm fortunate. Very happy. Very happy.
So you have a great career as a musician and all that stuff. Well, that's not why you're here, anyways. You're here because you're also one of the biggest Viking age enthusiasts there is, I think. I mean...
Yeah, that I'll sign.
I mean, you have ships, you have Viking restaurants, you've been planning on building a Viking settlement, you wrote a book, which we have here, by the way. I mean, we're going to talk about all that, obviously, during this show, but where did your interest start in the first place?
I think it all started when I was probably even in my mother's belly, because she was a historian, a teacher in school, and amateur archaeologist.
Yes.
I don't know the word for it. And my father as well. He wasn't a teacher, but he was working for Swedish television for many, many years.
Yes, for us who grew up in the 80s, we know who your father is, even if we don't know who your father is, because he was famous in his own right, I guess.
Yeah, I think they still he had a TV show in the Swedish TV show that it's called Vetenskapens Värld.
Yeah, the world of science.
The World of Science, and I think it's still one of the oldest TV shows that is still on. Yeah. He's not there. He's still alive, but he's too old to do that. But and there was the planets, dinosaurs, and Vikings. Yeah. History, Swedish history, but Vikings. Yeah. So I think from home, I'm just got the interest of history, and then the Viking Age, of course. These 300-400 years that just so much more interesting than a lot of other 100 years.
Is it true that it took you sailing to Birka and? Yeah,
so we had a normal plastic sailboat, and my father. I don't think. I love my father, but he's not a big sailor.
Okay,
I think he is. Oh, yeah. So he put all the family and food and beer and wine in and his books, of course, in the boat, and then we sailed over the ocean. But the ocean was Birkafjärden, very small.
It's a
small
narrow.
lake.
Yeah, you could swim it probably.
You can swim it actually, but and then after this long sailing trip for an hour, we came to Birka, the Björke, and the old. Place for the settlement, and we always anchored outside the what was a village 1,000 years ago. Yeah. And since my mother is a history as well, my father he's been writing a lot of books about this Birka, and they also did a lot of TV shows on the archaeology. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And my mother was correcting him because she was a Swedish teacher, so she was, helping him with the language, and I was just a little boy, Yeah. And I remember lying on this rubber floating mattress with the cyclop. What's that in English?
The diving glasses.
Diving glasses, yeah. Because it's just 2-3 meters down to the bottom, and then you can see the rest of the bryggor, the bridges,
the docks and all
the
that
docks,
stuff.
the docks, the woods from the docks from the 900. So I was lying there and looking down to all this. It looked like matches in a. It's extremely exciting, and that's one of I think the first memories I have, and from then it just grew. So I'm visiting Birka every year, and I read everything I can come across, and I also try to write myself, and it's just a huge interest. Mm-hmm. That's
so speaking of Birka, can you enlighten our foreign viewers who maybe are not familiar with it, what is Birka, and why is it so special to you? Like, obviously, you explained like in a word now that why it's special, but like why is it still so special to you?
I think it has a lot to do with why I am so interested in the Viking Age, because it has so many it's so many holes in it. You have some facts.
Yeah.
We know. We know that some of the warriors were, filing down their teeth, but we don't know why. So then you have to use your imagination, and this part where you have to use your imagination, and I used to call it experimental archaeology. When we sail, for instance, we know that they sailed and everything, but we don't know how they used, all the stuff there. We find with so many findings, but we don't know what they were using them for, and I think that's what attracts me so much to this age. And now I am so far away from your question, so I forgot it.
Well, I was asking what Birka is for those
Birka,
who don't know.
Yeah, so Birka is in my opinion, one of the largest in the middle of Sweden, the largest trading villages, cities. It's a big city at the time. There are, of course, nowadays we know that we have something called Uppåkra down in the south, close to Denmark. But in the middle of Sweden, I think this is still the most important trading city that we have from, I would say, early 700s to approximately 950 after AD.
And
is that how you say it?
Yeah.
And then something happened. The earth is still very dark, so it's a big fire, and we're still not sure why. But it's an interesting place. On the other side of it's a small island, and on the other side there is a little bit bigger island called Adelsö, and there's where the king sat. So the king could actually see this trading city from his, king's guard.
Yeah.
Gourd.
Yeah. His, I don't know what would you call it actually, because it's not a castle.
It's not a castle, wooden castle.
Yeah, it's like a big mansion basically.
Big mansion, yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's probably the best term. And it's interesting because they tried to be Christian for 2 times in the beginning of 800, I think 820, and then 840s, 3840s, and there's a lot of this is written down, so it's quite you can follow that, and the findings are extremely 30 years ago there was a billionaire Swedish one, Gad Rausing, by the way, who invented the Tetra Pak.
Oh yeah.
By the way, and he donated a lot of money so we can start, because we known since I think even from 1700s we known that something has happened here, but we don't know what. But then suddenly they start to dig out the place, and it's extremely interesting, and it's so many questions still. When you read about the place and you read about this house where the guard used to be, and they found all these arrows, and there happens so much in this place, and just for 200-300 years,
and there's about 3,000 grave mounds. Is that a correct number?
Yeah.
Which by itself is insane.
Yeah, and so much more than they estimate that there was only wintertime 1,000 people in this city, which is 1,500 people or something, but the graveyard had 3,000 graves. But so people came from very far away with the dead ones, because it was a huge honor to bury them at Birka, which also is strange. And there is still looking for the Ansgars kyrka, the church, when they try to Christian, they build first one a wooden one, then it says that someone we think that they build a stone church, the last one, but we haven't found it yet.
Yeah. But so, I mean, it is a special place. I've been there many times, but
I know. I think we met there the first time.
Exactly, the first time I met you was actually at Birka. That's kind of funny. I had my dog with you. Talk more to the dog than to me, but that's fine.
Sorry, that's a habit.
It's
Habit
okay.
of mine.
Yeah,
I think I did it today as
I
well.
prefer dogs to people too.
Easier.
Yes.
It's easier to understand what they are saying and thinking.
Yeah.
And I think, and you had I think at the time that you had a friend, and he's not with us anymore, Roger.
Oh yeah.
Because after that meeting, he posted me a Mon Amour t-shirt and record.
Oh really?
Yeah, that was the first time I heard the band, So I've been following you since then because of Roger Wicksell.
Yeah,
Wicksell.
Oh,
As a great guy.
Yeah.
And totally nerdish. He would be a guest here if we were alive. All right.
So obviously an important place for you.
Can I just try to end my weird story?
Okay,
Why
sorry.
is it so important? Because it's mysterious. The air, it breathes history.
Yeah.
And you can feel your, ancestors or not, they probably came from all over the world, but the place is a mysterious place. When you come there is a summer day and you just walk around the island, you feel it. There is something there that I can't describe. And I think that's half of why I'm always there.
That's exactly the feeling I had the first time I came there. And just that feeling that, it's like you almost go quiet. You don't really want to, it's like being on sacred ground almost.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
And that's why I usually walk alone, because I don't have any, I don't want to talk, or I just want to take it all in, you know. Yeah. And then if it's like some of the bones are my ancestors or not, it doesn't matter. It's a wonderful place. Yeah. Everyone should visit.
And it's beautiful in its own merit as well. Like that part of Sweden is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. And then, since it's not so close to Stockholm, it's not explored to death, It's not, it's still, everything is still where, it's not...
It's very rural. It's very,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. But so you like to walk alone, you say, and experience the whole thing. But you must have like we say in Sweden, a wild strawberry spot. Like
on the island.
Yeah, like a favorite spot. What's your favorite place to visit when you go there?
I think it's some different, but I love the part when it's outside the village. You have a little. It's like a shell, It's like a hill.
Oh yeah.
A hill, and then it's come close to it's a city wall. It used to be a city wall that you can, for the enemies, and when the enemies are going to break that one, then they run up to Borg, to the mountain where it's another city wall. Mm-hmm. But close to the city wall, down in the village, there is a little hill where the bigger. Nowadays, we know that the bigger mansions were up there. And they're also where they found a grave with this medicine women. You see this, the iron...
the vulvas.
The vulvas, And the grave around the vulvas, I think that's the spot.
That's interesting.
If I have a beer with me and it's a nice evening sun...
But why is that so special then?
I don't know. I think I can close my eyes, just put me on the island, and I would find that spot, because I'm going there. I don't know why. Nice. It's a wonderful place.
Okay.
To think and to breathe this.
So, would you list it as a must-see or visit spot, or is it just special for you?
I think it's a must-see, but it has to be some preparations. You have to read some about it, on the way out there. It's a couple of hours with the boat, so you got the time.
Yeah.
But you look it up. You Google Birka and see everything there is to know about it, because it's so much more fun when you're on the site. Because they haven't. I mean, we're glad that they haven't. Exploit, is that the word? They haven't built everything, and it's a lot of exactly how it's been, since nature took over the place. This is how it looks. But it's quite hard to, if you don't have a real good guide, then it's hard to know what's what.
Yeah.
But since Veronica Björkman is the best guide you
she's
can
great.
have.
She's great.
She's the queen of the island, and you just ask for her, and she will tell you everything there is about the place, and then everything comes to life, And she just stops somewhere on just the grass, plain grass, and she said, "Here, stop here." And then she started to tell you about this spot of grass, and then suddenly you see the grave and the houses and the smoke and the animals and I don't know, the Danish people coming, 100 boats and this,
Yeah, I agree. She's amazing. She's a great tour guide, I think.
But I know people that came out by themselves late and it's closed, no off season, and they just, what the hell? This is just what's this? It's just a field, and it is.
They're expecting a city, but it's not.
It's not.
Yeah. The first time I went there, I actually had Kalle Runrister as my
a legend,
as a guide. Yeah, he's a
legend. A really good guy.
Yeah.
And
he lives on Adelsö across the sound, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's I think the only one that really live his life. He's living his life doing the rune stones.
Yeah.
With that's his life. He's a great guy, and he was also a very good friend of Roger.
Yeah, exactly.
And
So as a visitor, is there any particular thing that you would recommend, like to look up about, like Birka, or when you go, if you go there, like this you really have to see when you go to Birka?
I think it's nowadays. I think it's a lot. They rebuild some of the constructions, the houses, but not on spot. They down it in another place on the island. So it's a little village. And summertime, especially June and July and August, there used to be some reenactment at the place, and they prepare some foods. You can also rent one of these old houses, and that's and down the harbor. And I still have 2 small ships there.
Oh,
so
yeah,
you can watch my small ships. And I think it's N-cut.
Yeah, N-cut. Well, speaking of Birka.
I had something that I tried to say. Wait, jag skulle säga någonting. Anyways, so try to... I think it's a good thing to come when this little village is alive, sometimes they continue to... Håkan Altrok is continue to build his boat, and then you got some feeling of what it must have looked like, because it's yeah,
it is a beautiful place anyways. So if you don't have the opportunity to go there during the summertime, it's well worth a visit. But as you said, you should probably read up a little bit on it before you go.
Yeah, so and bring a book and a map so you can see where everything.
Exactly, that's good advice, I think. So Birka, as you say, obviously super important in your life. We already covered that, but I think, was it 25 years ago you started a project where you planned to build a Viking settlement based on Birka? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So where did this idea come from?
I think because we know so much about the building, the constructions, and how it looked, and especially after when they done the digging on Birka, suddenly we know how close the houses were to each other and everything. So we start to have a good picture of what the village, what the city and the village would look like. But no one built it,
Yeah.
And I think you can't do that to, kids. You can tell them about everything, but you need to show them. They need to feel it.
Not only for kids. I feel that.
Yeah.
I want to see.
But I mean, it's supposed to bring a new generation in to be interested in this,
Yes.
So then I wanted to show the world, to show the tourism in Stockholm that this is how a Viking village looked like, because there wasn't any. At the time, we didn't have the village on Birka at all, So I think they built my dream. And I was working very hard for many years to find a place for this. And even the Swedish king helped us and gave us a place to build this out in Rosersbergs slot outside.
I heard of that. How did that happen? Sorry, digressing a little bit.
I don't know. He just, that's a great idea, and I also wrote to Ulf Adelsohn, I think his name is. It's the mayor of Stockholm at the time. This is many years ago, because I wanted to build it on Djurgården. That's
it's an island in Stockholm. We have a zoo. We have a theme park, and
and I thought it was perfect. And he wrote very polite back that no, thank you, but no, thank you. And then I went to the king, and he said, "Yeah, come on out." So he was taking his boots on, and then out, going around the beach. But then we discovered it was a bit too far from Stockholm. It wouldn't be any, and. But it's strange because something happened with that news. This is many years ago, because I can still have people, kids coming up and say, "How's it going with the Viking village?"
Yeah. So how is it going?
To hell.
Yeah.
No,
so where are the difficulties then?
Exists, and I could have the plan was to put my ship somewhere, and I can be on Birka, and it's a great. I think we don't need. It's a lot of these villages today. It wasn't 30 years ago.
So the current status is it's completely shut down, or do you still?
It's completely shut down for the moment. And then I got tired of it, so I at least I wanted to build a restaurant, and then I found this beautiful place 15 years ago, exactly in Old Town of Stockholm. And I named the restaurant Eifur after one of my ships.
Yeah,
the name
we're
is
going to
Eifur.
circle back a little bit to your restaurant in a bit, but
so
because I'm still very.
Then I had a restaurant, and I have somewhere to put my boats. I have some friends. I have Birka, and at the time the government were managing Birka, but then they put the management over to Strömma Kanal. It's a private company, and then suddenly Veronica and Thomas, two good friends. They were, the king and the queen of the island. So suddenly I can go there anytime. Yeah. And then it feels, start to build a new... Why? We have Birka.
Of course, it's great. I mean, and the village there is actually a good, concentrated depiction of what life would be anyways. Even if it's not an exact replica of the city. But if you didn't know, we at Grimfast are also building a village.
I know that, and I love it.
Yeah, so you're always welcome to get a house there if you want.
Thank you so much, and I will. I will. Yep, I will.
You have to come visit. Of
course. I think it's beautiful. I think it's, and I don't have the urge of being the one doing it. I just want it to be done, and you're doing it. So I'm super happy, and it's in the middle of Sweden.
Yeah,
and it's perfect.
It's excellent. So. But I'm still a little bit curious about this, because I know that you bought the set from the historical Swedish movies about Arn.
Arn, yeah.
Now, were that meant to be for the village then, or what was that? What was the plans behind that? Because
in the Arn movie, in the beginning, they have some meetings in the old long house. And that's it's supposed to be from the Viking age, and then it's a medieval story. The story is from 11th, 1200, and those houses are a bit too modern. But the older houses I tried to buy, and then I'm not very good at computers, so it was an auction on the net. And they came up with the house, and I was, clicking in I want that house. And then it just disappeared, and I was, what the hell? And then a new house came, and it disappeared. And I didn't understand. Every time it disappeared because I got it.
You bought it.
So I bought it, I think 11 houses.
Oh, wow. So did you buy anything else to the house?
Yeah,
I mean, houses are massive. But
furnitures and everything. And some are very, too modern. But it's still beautiful stuff. But it's a lot of chairs and sofas and stuff and, helmets and you name everything. And these buildings.
Yeah, so where is all that now? Do you still own it?
And I sold, some of the houses sold to another village down, I think outside Kalmar or something, down there. And almost three houses I still have out on Adelsö. I was living there for many years. So I have a...
Did you build them up, or are they...
We built one house up just to see if everything's worked,
Okay.
And I had a farm there, but I don't live there anymore. But I still have 2 or 3 of these houses.
Do you have any plans what to do with all that stuff?
No, I just keep, I'm hamstring. I think someone has called me hoarder. I think Viking hoarder.
Okay.
Because I try to, because I know everything that I've been hoarding over the years. I've always had some use for it. Mm-hmm. I don't have anything that I didn't have use for, so it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
So maybe I can put one of these or 2 of these to the village.
Yeah, maybe that could be a good idea.
To my little mansion.
We should talk to the guy. Yeah, exactly.
What's going to be the name of the city?
Grimgard.
Grimgard.
Yeah,
that's a good post address.
Yes, I think that's pretty cool.
I like that.
So, speaking of movies, then. There are movies I actually thought were quite good for Swedish productions, because sometimes Swedish productions, they lack a little bit of extra. But I actually thought they were really well made, actually.
At the time, I think it was the most expensive project in film in Sweden.
I think it was.
So
I think it still might be, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's such an international production. But going back to, that's medieval times, post-Viking age, but what is your favorite Viking movie, would you say? Speaking of movies.
I think it's too few Viking movies,
Okay, yeah. Agreed, but...
yeah, it is, I think...
And feel free to say Norsemen, a Viking saga, since I was in that one, but, no pressure.
With Alexander Skarsgård?
No, that's Northman. I was in Northmen, a Viking saga.
Oh, that's my favorite. Sorry, that was the one I meant.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but seriously, what would be your favorite Viking movie?
I always come back to when I was a kid. I just have to remember the name of it. I think it's a Norwegian film, and it's called The White Warrior. The White.
Do you mean Vitekrist?
Is that?
Oh no, yeah. Oh damn it, yeah. That's
it's
right.
Really
it's
old.
And
they're jumping on the oars and everything. So they some of the stuff are real, but and then you can see, and some is they lack 50 years of where we are today.
Yeah,
we know much more. But it's a.
I think I know, but wasn't that a series? Maybe it was a movie.
I think it was a movie.
Yeah.
I think it was.
But I think
was it a series?
I think it was the Icelandic director Ravn Gunnlaugsson who made it. I just can't remember what the name of it actually. But anyways,
Ravn Korpen Flyger and all this. I had him as a teacher in the film school,
really?
By the way. Yeah.
Wow. Because for me, Korpen Flyger, which I think has a really ridiculous name in English, I think it's called The Barbarians or something.
That's why it didn't sell so well.
Yeah, probably. But that movie is... It's an amazing movie.
Even the music.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
It's been a long time
that's
since
my favorite.
Yeah.
That's even better. With Sune Mangs in the second part.
Yeah.
I don't know, Korpen Flyger and...
Korpen Skugga.
Korpen Skugga, yeah, the shadow of
the raven. Yeah. So yeah.
Tungerkniver.
Yeah. Both those movies are excellent, but I think the first one is the best.
Yeah. The second one was a little bit. It went a bit corny with Sune Mangs. It started to get fun.
But I liked him in that movie.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, we're going down to detail now. Sune Mangs, a very famous Swedish actor,
a bit forgotten,
comedian,
Swedish.
In the 70s. But yeah, a bit of a corny guy. So, going back to your restaurants and stuff. Oh, wait. Actually, let's not. I wanted to ask you, because, as you say, there's too little movies being made about Vikings.
Yeah.
But is there any particular story, like a Viking Age story, that you would like to see be made into, a film or a TV series? Because there's so many great ones.
Yeah, but I think I would really love to see the Ingvarstågen.
Okay.
I don't know the
I'm not really familiar with them.
It's they put it's a lot of ships going somewhere. We're not sure where, but it's somewhere Särkland.
Yeah, no, it's not the same as Ivar Wittfarn.
No, it's not.
Okay.
No, it's not. This is Ingvarstågen. It's called Ingvarstågen. It's like Ingvar's train. That's the weird word, but it's a lot of boats going for a mission somewhere down, probably Istanbul, Miklagård, as we say, or Constantinople, same place. And there was only a few, 2 or 3 ships coming home. They had a huge bad luck,
Yeah.
And the rune stones outside Gripsholms slot in the middle of Sweden. It's a beautiful castle, by the way.
Yeah.
And it's this famous one. Went to Särkland and gave the eagle, fed the eagle.
Fed the eagle, yeah.
Fed the eagle, this, it's icon lyrics, it's from that journey, journey. And there is an archaeologist that is trying to put together this trip. How many ships could it be? How many came home? Where did they go? What could have happened? And they start to put these pieces together and it's come up to a very... I think you have to write some more material to make a film out of it, I would love to see that.
Yeah, that
That's
sounds
one of the themes.
For me, I think one which would be maybe a more personal portrait in that sense. Maybe not so much. Well, there's kind of adventures in it as well, but the Egil Skallagrimson saga. I think it's an amazing tale about a person and his life and all the stuff that happens to him from when he's very young until he dies of old age. It's incredible.
Then you have more of a manuscript. You have more of a script to make a movie.
There is something to build from, obviously. With that. But I love that side of myself.
Yeah, I think I have to. That will be my homework. Go home and read that one.
Hey guys, just cutting in for a second. If you enjoy this podcast, subscribe to support our work. Thanks for listening. Anyways, moving on to your restaurants, which I kind of prematurely did. You were talking about iFood.
Yeah.
But before you did that, you were involved in the restaurant on Birka, actually, called Särimner. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did the whole idea come about to do Särimner? Because
this is a long story. I'll try to make it short. I was working at a TV station for many years ago and called ZTV. And then I had this thing, and I always had this VHS camera with me because I see something funny. I film, and I think I was the first in the world to film myself, by the way, selfie filming, because I had no cameraman. So I went out, and suddenly there is this big, it wasn't actually Viking ship, it was a little bit later, Helgaholm. I think it's 1307 something where they built that ship, but it's a huge, beautiful ship, and it was lying down to the Stadshuset, the city hall of Stockholm. And so I saw the ship, and I went down with my camera to film something crazy for my TV show. I had my own TV show called Lördagsmos. Saturday,
I watched that, by the way.
You did? Saturday Marsh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's And
I don't remember much. I know I watched it.
I tried to be as crazy as possible. And I think I got fired in the end. So I think I succeeded.
You probably did a good job then.
So, and then I went down to film, and then I had this Sigge Viking. There was a guy with a big beard, and he was watching the ship because the rest had gone drinking beer somewhere. And he's telling me all about the boat. And he said, "Yeah, we're going to Gotland, which is an island on the east side in the sea, quite far away from Stockholm. And we're going there in a few days to go and see the medieval market, which is 1 week a year. It's a wonderful party in Visby on Gotland."
Yeah.
And he said, "You're welcome to join." And I put together some of my friends. We went to Swedish television and rented a costume from Ronja Rövardotter.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's a child's program.
Yeah, Astrid Lindgren story.
Yeah, really good Astrid Lindgren story. And we went and we hopped on board this ship, and we were waiting for the right winds because it doesn't sail very good. You have to have the wind from the rear. And playing this wonderful Nefatafel. Yeah. And suddenly Håkan Altruk, as he was skipper, he's an extremely good marine archaeologist and a diver and shipbuilder and sailor. He's a legend. Håkan Altrock. Google him.
Yeah.
And he was a skipper on this boat, and this is many years ago. And suddenly in the middle of the night, we were drinking and quite drunk and everything. Essentially, he was like, "Come on, stop drinking. We're leaving in 5 minutes." I was like, "What?" So jump in the boat, and there was the right wind. And then it was sailing over to Visby in the middle of a summer night. And in middle that journey, I still have goosebumps when I think about it. And 20, I think it was 30 people on board this huge ship, and it started to become not a storm, but it really blew hard. The wind becomes stronger and stronger, and suddenly the waves were just higher than the boat, and it started to take in water. We were still happy and drunk, but in the middle of the, we couldn't see land anywhere.
Yeah,
and we had a följebåt. How do you say
like
that?
a follow boat. Like
a follow boat.
Yeah, just a regular boat following you in case something would go wrong. Obviously.
Exactly. Yeah. But this boat was Swedish Television that had rented to get nice picture of the boat in the sunset, with one photographer and one captain. And both were super drunk. So they fell asleep on this boat. And suddenly they smashed into us in the middle of the ocean. And
excellent. Great job.
Weird. So we were very close to sink. They just broke the nose of the ship and everything, but we survived. We survived, and we really everyone has to ösa.
Yeah, it just start scooping up the water. And
scooping up the water. Yeah, everyone has to do this but we went it all the way to this. This is a long story. You have to
go ahead.
All right.
Yeah, we have time.
Anyway, we came all the way to Visby. It's a beautiful summer morning with this ship and everything. It was a big thing actually on the island. The journalists came down the TV.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah,
and it started this medieval week. It's a big party. Everyone is dressed out in the Viking, but a little bit later, early medieval time.
Yeah.
And at the time they had the biggest and the greatest party was out. I don't remember the name. It was like a restaurant, a huge restaurant where just the coolest persons, knew about this.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's a place. Anyway, this beautiful place, just open 1 week a year, and they had many live bands on the evening. They were cooking the food outdoor, and there was something I have never seen before. All these, dressed up people coming from this era with the clothes, the music. They made this home mead, big tubs of mead, so you can put your head down to it, and the music, and I just felt, and I remember so clearly that I was sitting there looking down. You can also climb up a stone wall in this restaurant, like 4 or 5 meters up, and you can sit up there and just watch this weird party going on. And I felt like this should be a restaurant. It should be not 5 days a year. It should be every day.
Yeah.
So that was actually the reason why I started the restaurant Eifer. I wanted to do as close to that as possible.
Was that also like where the ceremony started? The ceremony was that the precursor to going into Eifer, or?
Yep, it was because, but Sarimner was. I was never. I never cooked any food or anything. I just helped them to decorate the place.
Okay.
So it was probably almost at the same time, but they had their own restaurants. I couldn't change so much, and I wanted to do it exactly as from my weird dream.
Yeah, because Eifer is an amazing place. I've been there a number of times. The food is excellent. The atmosphere is amazing. It's a beautiful place in the old town of Stockholm.
Yeah,
smack in the center of it. It's
I'm very
amazing.
happy.
Yeah.
We've been up and running now for 14 years.
Yeah. So you did all this. You had this idea. How did you start the whole project though? Because what do you know about
I think it was in the hands of the gods. Because everything happened at the same summer. We made this, not the same summer, because we went to this wonderful restaurant, and they had this different style. They presented every company of guests coming in. They presented. Everyone went silent and thought, okay, these are the these are a gang from blah blah blah. They come from Canada or Småland or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I stole all these small things and bits and pieces, and I said, so it took some years, and then I had a country house, a small country house out in the Swedish archipelago called Möja.
Mm-hmm.
And
nice place, I've been there.
a really nice place.
Times, yeah.
Not that place where I was living was nice, because I think the neighbors hated me or my too loud music or whatever it was in the nighttime.
Old school archipelago.
Yeah, they
people.
didn't exactly. Yeah. No, but they and all my dogs. I had 5 dogs at the time, and I think it was too much for them, because I asked to put my boat in the harbor, and they said no for 2 years in a row, and I went so angry. So I sold the place, and I found myself with a sack of gold, and I was like thinking what to do now, and then I felt like now it's time to build Eiffel. Nice. Now we must bring this weird dream to life.
So now you have the money, you have like the idea, but I mean just to like find the right spot, find the right people to work with. But because like, what experience did you have about like?
I look up in the advertisement in the newspaper just to see what kind of restaurant there was for sale, and then I knew I wanted to have it in the old town on Västerlånggatan, because that's where the people are.
That's the main tourist street in Stockholm. Like
it is, and still a beautiful spot of Stockholm. It's not. It's tourism, but it's still the old town.
Yeah,
and I found this place, and I remember coming down, and I felt that this would be perfect. I was standing in a corner, and I was like, okay, from this place you can, because my intention was that here people are going to announce the guests, but then you have to talk to the whole restaurant at the same time. Yeah. Usually in Stockholm you have small rooms, but it was quite.
It's a big open space. It's unusual for Old Town, I think, with that kind of.
And this is fact. The Queen Christina in the 1600, and she abdicated 1654.
Yeah,
and this restaurant, this house, this place of the house was her personal wine cellar.
Oh wow! Okay,
that's weird. So the last stop before she abdicated, in Uppsala, and then she took all her friends and the 100 carriages with pictures and wine and everything, and they went from the castle in Stockholm, and they stopped by my restaurant to bring up the wine, and then they went to Rome. That's the story.
Oh wow, that's crazy. But
everyone, including my own family, said, "Don't do this. You haven't had a restaurant in your life. You don't know what you're doing. You're going to lose all your money."
Yeah, because it is a tough business.
Yeah. It's really tough. But we're 14 years later, and never going better.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
But I started some other restaurants, and they all went to hell. So it's not easy.
It is not, but I think what makes this successful, obviously, is because you have this theme to it and you executed it really well. If you ask me, I think it's really well executed. Like, often you find like medieval restaurants, and it's like some guy with a 17th century floret doing some stuff, and like some 18th century clothes.
And everyone is playing normal guitar as well.
Exactly. So it's kind of like a novelty thing, and the food is terrible, but you pretty much nailed it on this one. The food is amazing, the atmosphere is great. Even if it's like obviously a modern place, you step in there, you kind of get the feeling, I think.
Yeah.
So kudos to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's a good with this local. I can't find the word for it. The
local, the room.
The place. The place.
Yeah.
The good thing is that it's a cellar, so you don't have any windows. And as they built the cellars a long time ago, it's round, so it reminds a bit about a longhouse.
A little bit, yes, it does.
It's going in.
Plus, also without the windows, you kind of block out the modern world when you walk in there, which is
I hear some people say when they come down with the music and the smell and everything, you just changed. It's a new world. You come into another world, and that's exactly what I wanted to do, because that was my feeling in Visby. I came to another world. I never seen it before.
But how do you go about like putting together a menu then? Because obviously there are no Viking age recipes around, really. I mean, there are people like, you know, like we have the book An Early Meal that we actually sell.
Yeah.
Where experimental archaeologists Daniel Serra and Hanna Thunberg, they've created recipes out of like ingredients that were available.
Yeah.
Using tools and cooking methods that were available and trying to figure out how they would eat. But how do you create a menu then, like for a place like this?
In the beginning, I used to cook food even in the military. I was a chef for 11 months, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested in food in all different ways. But I was very ambitious in the beginning. We tried to make it, you know, your excellent book wasn't out then, 15 years ago. No. So we probably have read that from you know sleeve to sleeve. But I did everything I could to do my research, what kind of recipe there are, you know, what kind of how, and we know that they ate a lot of mussels. Is that the word? Musslor?
Yeah, clams. Mussels and clams. Yeah,
mussels and clams. Yeah,
shellfish.
So we know that they ate this, and then I take but instead of white wine, I put mead in. You have the cream, you have onions, you know, but we do it with ramslök instead of normal, you know. Yeah. Imported onions, and then you get a moule marinée in a Viking style. You know, they could have been done.
Could have been done, yeah.
It's still one of the favorite, the dish that sell the most, even today.
Yeah.
But we're not sure if they had it or not. But all the ingredients were there.
Yeah.
So it could have been. But I was really ambitious, and I had another dish called Gotländsk glödhoppa, which is one of the oldest recipes there are in Sweden.
Yeah, an amber, what do you call it? Amber's jump, amber skip. All right, yeah.
Okay, yeah. It's and I think we sold two portions, and both of these guests would love to have their money back. They hated it, you know. So we had to go more, you know, traditional food and try to present it in exciting way, or maybe but
I think that's probably
they didn't eat with a fork, but we need to have a fork on you know. So you
especially if you're gonna attract like tourists and stuff, they kind of want to have the experience, but not necessarily like the odd food, I guess. But I mean, it's sort of like have you ever been to Tallinn and Olde Hansa?
Yeah, yes, many times.
They have the same thing. They serve food that would have been available in medieval times, but it's made to like sort of presented in a modern way, I guess.
Yeah. A bit too modern for me, but then I'm happy to have this restaurant, which I have. We found a recipe, English recipe, which should be the oldest dish in England. It's called frumante, and it's a gröt,
a porridge,
a porridge of I think corn.
Okay.
Corn porridge that it's supposed to be the oldest, and we tried to experiment with this, and it's extremely nice instead of potatoes to the meat, you know. So we sell a lot of this, and it's been really fun.
So now you have the food. You already mentioned like music, because you also have live musicians there.
Live musicians every evening.
Yeah,
every evening.
They play like traditional instruments and all that stuff.
Yeah,
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Vevlira, hurdy-gurdy,
yeah,
and weirdest instruments. Really good musicians.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy that we can have that every evening, because it's a really icebreaker. You come down, you sit down, and these guys start to play like on things you never heard. I never heard a sound.
Yeah,
it's a weird sound.
Yeah,
this music. It's
but then you also like you like drinks as well. Like you already mentioned that you had mead in with the clams, but you have your own mead and own beer, right?
Yeah. So we have exactly. So a couple of beers that are what they tell us brewed as long as back as we even, you know, we have a recipe for it. And mead is mead is not beer. Mead is wine.
Yeah.
For the first, it's good to know. Many people think it's a kind of a beer, but mead is really when they open up the tomb of Cleopatra, probably 6,000 years ago or something. They had this amphoror, this clay bottles along the wall in the tomb, and in the bottle you had mead. Mead is a wine made of honey.
Yeah.
So and you can have it in all forms. There are American one that tastes like almost like champagne, and then you came all the way to port wine, really having almost glue. You know, it's which is perfect with cheese, hard cheese. So it's really varieties. You know, the range is enormous.
That's crazy. So, and the interior is spectacular. Did you use any of that orange stuff for the interior?
Not very much, actually. I think the all from the TV series, some of the stuff are really well built, like these things. You know, really well built, and some are just to look good on some, you know, a couple of yards away.
Yeah.
So
if
it's
you get too close, it's gonna fall apart.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's just, you know, so yeah. I also had the opportunity to buy the requisita from Ronja Rövardotter, the new film.
The new movie. Okay.
Yeah, and some of the stuff among the big table with all of these guys from this film are eating every evening and dancing on. We have that table at home, in my home now. So I'm very happy.
So you're dancing on that in your own house now.
Yeah, with all the kids, you know.
Yeah.
So it's fun to know that the same table are still, you know, working as
that's great.
Middle point for the family in the movie as well. But and when I opened, I collected stuff from Viking markets. I've been to Viking markets all my life, and especially the Danish and Norwegian ones, I think are the absolutely, you know, the best. You can buy furniture and coffins and big stuff. You know, Sweden markets are usually smaller stuff, clothes, jewelry. But the Danish in Ribe. I had to rent this huge truck to get all the stuff home, and I had it in my home in waiting for some project, you know, the village. But the village never came, but the restaurant came. So it was quite easy to decorate the restaurant when I opened up, because I had all the stuff home. But it was very empty the day after, you know.
It was.
After the premiere, it was like coming home, there's just echoes in my home. Everything was gone.
So but like the old town obviously also holds a special place for you, because you also have a rock bar there, right?
Yeah. Mammoth Bar.
Yeah,
it's opened up almost exactly 1 year ago.
Yeah, so I still haven't been there actually, because I never.
You're more than welcome.
Yeah, I have to go there.
Yeah, it's going better and better. The plan with this is there's so many rock bars in the world, but we try to engage small and big bands to come down, just a member or two come down and play records, because it's quite a small place. You can't put in a big band or something. It's a small, and it's the same. The cellar is built in. They think the oldest part of this cellar is built 1250 when Stockholm was founded. One of the rooms, and
that's
so
crazy.
it's really old place. You know, you can feel it. They say the guys working there, when they close, everyone's gone home. They lock the door, and they never go one and one. They always have to be two, because the ghosts come out. They start moving stuff, and they put on the music, and the alarm goes on, and it's really weird, you know.
That's insane. That's crazy.
But it's I'm very happy. So now we had the really good Swedish band and international band, and we had the Pantera was there, and then had like a pre-party for their show, and they put it out on their Instagram. So I'm very happy.
That's great. Yeah.
But we'll see. I just love heavy metal.
Yeah, well,
we do.
Yeah, who doesn't? So, but I wanted to ask you though, because like you have
we play a lot of Amon Amarth down there.
Great. That wasn't what I was going to ask, but thanks.
We do.
Yeah, amazing. But so Särimner, Eifer, Mammoth. So 2 restaurants, 1 rock bar. Obviously now you need another bar. And I heard somewhere there is something I heard that you were going to do.
Where are we going with this?
I heard something about a submarine bar for
Ooh,
Russians.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, you done your homework.
Is this a real thing?
Yes. Yes, I built a submarine.
For me as a Swede, I guess for most Swedes, it's going to almost sound like a joke because of the U-137, the Russian submarine that like ran aground in the southern archipelago in Sweden, outside Karlskrona in 1981, I think.
Yeah.
And they even made a movie now, which is basically them being shit-faced all the time.
But since then, every 5-6 years, there have been new, they've spotted new Russian submarines in the Swedish archipelago.
I know.
And sometimes, the Air Force is there trying to bomb them. They try everything to get these guys up. But the Russians have a better technique, I think, than our...
Possibly, yeah. But so this is a true thing.
I built this is one of my one of my worst the economic disaster restaurants.
You
in the beginning with IFRE, I felt like I'm a genius. I know how to build restaurants. I am a genius. And then I started a new restaurant. It just fell apart, and then another one. And this is the most fun economical disaster. It's called Dalarö Skans. It's an old. It's an island with a big. It's to defend Stockholm from the south, so it's in the middle of this
big strait,
and with a big stone house where they put powder, gunpowder in, and really have to be thick walls because they thought to smash it with cannons, they shouldn't go. It's a beautiful, beautiful little island, and I don't know. I thought it was a good idea to buy this and then open up a restaurant, and a bar. So I think, and at the time, the year before this, it was a submarine that was really annoying the Swedish Marine forces because they couldn't find it, and it disappeared. It disappeared, and it came up like a Loch Ness animal somewhere, and everyone has spotted this. And then I said, we should do a Russian submarine bar, so they can have somewhere that they can come up and have a beer and get in peace. So I also made big signs around this island in Russian. They said, "Welcome up. You're here. You can have a peace and quiet meal and a beer," in Russian.
That's freaking genius. I would go to that bar.
No one did, so I had to come after a year.
Damn it.
Yeah, but it was fun. And I had a lot of different submarine stuff, and war stuff in the restaurant. It was quite a beautiful place. But it really didn't work.
Such a crazy idea. I think it might have worked better in Stockholm, though. If it did that in Stockholm, that could have really worked, I think.
Yeah. And we had so much free advertisement around because of this submarine, I felt like, they're doing commercial for us. But no one did know about the bar. Maybe
that's too bad.
It's not too late. I think they're still lurking around there.
Maybe the idea, yeah.
I think I saw
there are some islands in Stockholm that you could do the same thing, I guess.
Yeah, but restaurant on island, I did.
Or even
I had to. It doesn't work.
No, well, that's true actually. Even I think there was this restaurant south of Södertälje on an island called Oaxen.
Yeah.
They had a star in the
I know
Michelin, but it didn't work.
We don't have time.
No.
We don't have time, but I have a story about Oaxen.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why not? Go ahead. Shoot.
But it's a weird story. Maybe you can...
Maybe we can save it for the next time we come.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
So, no, everybody's going, I want to hear that story.
Yeah, with a helicopter and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fun.
Oh, yeah. So anyways, speaking of submarines, traveling underwater, but you have ships... actual Viking ships, several of them actually. You already mentioned 2.
Yeah, I had 3, and I sold one to a very good friend of us.
So we have one more than you now then.
Yeah, probably.
We have 4 at Grimfrost, but you only have 3 left.
I have only 2 left.
Oh, only 2 left. Okay.
I had 3, and I sold one of them to Grimfrost.
Oh, I thought you had 4. I see.
Langschweiger.
Yeah, Langschweiger.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Like long...
It's actually... It's two different. It's Langschweiger is a long tail.
Yeah.
Because it was built the same year as this.
The meteor. Yeah.
Yeah. What's his name?
Oh, the comet.
The comet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somewhere I think in the 90s or 80s or something.
Yeah.
So it was built the same year. So when they was building the ship, they could see this stream of light in the sky.
Oh, wow.
Nighttime. And then they call it Langschweiger. It's a Gotlandic for long tail or something.
Yeah.
But they also have the same name for wine dick. Like the morning after. You can't really...
The limp dick?
Yeah, okay. Limp dick, yeah.
I see. Well, I think we renamed it anyway, so that's probably a good idea. But so, but how many ships have you owned? Is it that 3?
I think one ship, because it's over 12 meter. I think it has to be 12 meters to be. Otherwise, it's a boat.
Yes.
And the small one, it's only 7 meters, 8 meters or something. Yeah.
That's sort of a ship.
Sort of a ship, a small ship.
So, but they are at Birka.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are they there year round or?
All the year round.
Yeah.
So we made a really good deal. As earlier we said, our friends there, Veronica and the guys at the museum and everyone, they're really taking good care of the ship. And I actually don't want to get rid of them. I can't, I will be, because IFR is in my opinion, the most beautiful replica of a ship there is,
Mm-hmm.
It's a half replica of half and half. It's a wonderful person in Gotland that built it, but I think he took most of the inspiration for the ship from the Skuldelevsbåtarna.
Mm-hmm. The Skuldelev ships.
Skuldelev ships from Denmark. They put a lot of stone and just sank them in the middle of, because they wanted to, hinder for the other ships.
Yeah. But do you do stuff? Do you sail them?
I used to sail them a lot. We used to go on this like vacation for 2-3 weeks. We went down Mälaren and with some other weird friends, Håkan Altrock and Pooh and the guys from Västerås with all the ships, and we just put a lot of beer and food and friends, and we just sail wherever we for a couple of weeks. But this is some years ago now. The summers are too short.
Did you ever take your dad out sailing? Since he's you said he considers himself a bit of a master sailor, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. No, he's seen the ship, and he's been having a beer on one of on IFR actually in Västerås. But this is many years ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's a bit too old now to climb around Viking ships. But it was interesting because I'll come back to Håkan Altrock, which he's one of my idols when it comes to Viking ships, because he knows everything and he's such an extremely good sailor. There's a lot of really professors and really learned people that say that you can't go across the wind with a Viking ship because the construction doesn't allow you. You have to go with the wind. You can't, and that's what he's doing. He can sail this one in an 8.
Yeah.
He just proved that they're all wrong. And it's a normal ship. You just know to trim everything.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about trimming.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Because amazing.
I remember I also always heard that you had to go with the wind.
Yeah.
With the Viking ships, but I think I saw it. That was like a documentary from Denmark. I think, where they actually sailed against the wind as well with the Viking ship, which was fascinating because I didn't know you could do that. So,
but it takes if you're going to the wind, you have to kryssa. I don't know, sail. I don't know.
I don't know what the English term for it, but basically you sail. Yeah, you zigzag towards the wind. Yeah,
towards the wind.
And you turn and
And if you start with 2 boats, one is rowing and one is sailing this zigzag style, then the rowing boat is 3 times faster.
Yeah,
that is interesting, and also the way you can navigate were quite hard. You can navigate stars if it was nighttime, the sun if it's daytime, but the sun is moving. and so on and so forth. You know, it's a big debate how they navigated on these ships. But if you and then you add that you are zigzagging over the ocean, you don't know where you are.
No.
So probably that's why they were waiting for winds, and that's why you find these Nefertafel. You find them in almost every tomb, because this is what to do while waiting for the right winds for days.
Passing time. Yeah.
Instead of TikTok.
Exactly. So, do you do any other activities with the ships? Do you like you said they're at Birka? Do they? Their home is Birka, and what I love about it, that even if I don't have the time to be there, I'm on my own tour or whatever we're doing summer. I think the summers were long when I was younger. They are very short. Yeah, I know.
A few weeks and then it's winter again.
Yeah.
And what I do, that I really love the feeling that they are teaching children and tourism out on Birka. This is a ship. They can climb aboard and they can feel the oars and they can just sit in the boat. And how many places can you do that? You know?
That's true.
So
that's pretty cool.
It's thousands of people every summer sitting. You know, they put their ass in my boat and they love it, and they get a feeling. You know, the smell of tar.
Yeah.
The you know.
Yeah.
Usually
I remember actually
they get spots because the tar is really.
I remember seeing your boats there, and it's a very rich smell of tar when you go there.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I love it.
As it was, probably.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love it too. That's a smell of home.
Yeah. So, like, you have a lot of strings on your lyre, as we say in Sweden.
Well, I think, as probably all the guys watching this feel the same way, that Viking Age is a wonderful, warm, and interesting, intelligent friend.
It is.
Because it's always there, and it's always full of new stuff, surprises. It's always something to read, to listen to smell, to, you know, you can handcraft yourself. Even if you live in an apartment, you can, you know, make beautiful things in leather or whatever. You know,
that's crazy. But one of the things that we touched upon as well, and we already showed this little gem, the Svea Kampen book. So you're an aspiring writer, and as we said, this book had a pretty decent review, as I remember.
Yeah, I'm not very, you know, spoiled with decent reviews of anything I do.
But it was fun. But like, so you wrote this, but are there plans for any more books?
Yeah, I started a few years later with a follow-up book called The Guteguldet, the gold from Gotland, or whatever. And I'm still working on it. Yeah. But I don't know, it's just,
sometimes you just have to find the time, I guess. But
exactly. Yeah. So,
well, let's put it this way. I know Stephen King, he started a book when he was 17, and I think he finished they turned into 7 books, which he finished when he was like in his 60s or something. So,
wow.
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy. But
then watch out. You know?
Exactly. So you still have a chance.
It's coming your way.
If Stephen King can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
But
that book is about Birka, by the way. It's a lot of guys, you know, a group of guys, you know, youngsters, and they come across a ship and they renovate it and they put their, you know, their first real own voyage to the big games of Birka. You know, it's called Svea Kampen.
Yeah,
the Swedish fight for the trophy.
Yeah, of Svea Rike. The land of the Svea.
In times of not war, you know, in times of peace, people were still. There was still an ache for fighting. Yeah, so now we can do it in the peaceful way. That's the book.
That's cool. Yeah. So this brings us a little bit back to like the Viking Age. So like the Viking Age fascinates you because there's always so much to learn, and it's such an interesting topic in general. But what about the Viking Age fascinates you the most, would you say?
As I said, I think it's I can't speak very good. I just love that you had to add some of your own imagination into the equation, because not everything is there. There's a lot of facts, but there is then dark holes. We don't know what, and then you can work your, it's not that if you read about the medieval times and later, and even some of the Roman, you have to read a book. You can't imagine anything because it's all there.
It's all there, yeah.
And that's
but like, what about the achievements? Like, if you look at what we know about the Vikings, is there any specific things?
Yeah, of course, the journeys that they put in, and the how to build ships, and they come so far, and we find we find these things from them, on so many different places, and it's interesting that it's just. There was something that we haven't seen before. You have also to know that the Viking age, there was maybe 1% of the guys in young guys that went out on a cruise, on a sail. The rest was farmers, and they were taking care of the farm, and it can be, but usually it was just the oldest boy that can inherit the farm.
Mm-hmm.
The rest didn't have any future. That's why they start killing each other, because to be the oldest one, and then he was killed, and then, but there was not, so we have to know that. But I think it's I think they come up. What's so interesting is also I just love the way that to express. They have extremely their own design of things, the artwork of stuff.
Yeah, the artistic side of the Vikings is
better
amazing.
put. Yeah, and you haven't seen that before the Viking age, and you haven't seen it after. Something happened there and then.
Yeah,
and it was almost the same. In Norway, Sweden, and Denmark, these countries didn't exist, of course, but it's a quite big area where they did simultaneously build stuff that looked almost the same. So they should have had some communication that we don't actually know about yet.
Yeah. Plus, also back then, obviously, we more or less shared the same language, which we don't really do today, which is insane by all means itself, but it's kind of weird. So you've been involved in so many Viking things, and there's so much stuff that you read about, but is there anything about like this whole thing that you would still like to experience?
I try to. I have a different news. Oh, it's hard to be a digital newspaper from different archaeologist group. So I get every week. I got more, information about findings. They have some archaeology digging along the a road. They build a new road, and they put the archaeologists there to discover because they find something. And all of this is like a newspaper, which I rather read than about Putin or whatever, because I'm so tired of it. So it's very nice, and it's always interesting, and all of these news come together. I just love following. I think one of the best thing is when you put something upside down. We know this is what this tool has been for, and suddenly they discover it's wrong. This is what happened, And like the tomb 454, I think, in Birka, when this is the most interesting tomb they dig up. It's a warrior's tomb, and they found all these beautiful things. And I think this Nefatafel was from that grave, and all these different weapons, and suddenly we've been knowing for this tomb for, I think, 50 years or something, and suddenly someone discovered that the warrior is a woman. And that's, the things that just gives me the goosebumps when everything turns upside down, everything.
I totally agree with that. It's such an interesting thing about when all of a sudden you go like, you get this aha moment, like, wait, we've been wrong all this time. This is what it is. Yeah, it's crazy.
Or from my own experience about the Håkan sailing these ships, I read this book about they can't go towards the wind. There's no chance you go. And then I just, while I'm reading this, my friend is going around the boat, like this. It's like, Professor, wrong. So that's a kick.
Yeah. So, like as you said, you had a lot of strings on your lyre. But what motivates and fuels you in all your projects then? Because I guess you're not done.
No, I'm not done.
Yeah.
I have more, hopefully. Knock on wood, as we say in Sweden. I think it's to show stuff. I'm like a hobby. You heard part of it. It's a rock thing that I'll try. Every song will be a story from the Viking age. It's a metal project. It's just me, myself, and I. But it's hopefully we go on tour somewhere. But then we're going to be a band. But this is it's a hobby thing. But it's nice to tell something that I discovered of all the things I read. That I can pick stuff like, oh, I didn't know about this, and then I put it in the lyrics, so every song would be interesting for someone that has the same weird interest as we do, about Vikings.
Yes,
and
I kind of feel the same way when I write lyrics. So, oh, this is a cool thing I can put in there.
Yeah, and sometimes it's news. This is something that I haven't. We didn't know that, and so that is inspiration, and also some new findings, because there is a certain fashion, the Viking fashion. You can see the same dragon, and it's a bit different and so on now. But now and then they come up with some new stuff from the ground, from all the diggings everywhere. And it's like, wow, I've never seen that before. And then I want to put that as a cover of the album, or the cover of the new book, or I don't know. I just made it for myself, for my Viking tent, which I never have time to sleep in, but I live on the day, to go to the market, put the tent up, put the clothes on, have a big glass of mead and become a Viking for a week or a few days, a weekend,
It's always nice, isn't it?
It's really nice.
Yeah. And hopefully you can do that now at the Greenberg whenever we come to visit. So
when
we build your house.
Love that.
Yeah.
Really love it. I hope you get this, cell phone punishment, which they have on Gotland.
Yeah.
This medieval market, if your phone was ringing during dinner, they drag you out and they put this, I don't know, stock.
Yeah.
I don't know, they put you in wood.
Yeah, exactly.
Bam.
Yeah.
And then you have to sit there for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you get your mobile back, put it on silent.
Yeah.
Really fun.
What was that place called? It's Clematis.
Down the Strandgas.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not there anymore.
No.
It was an amazing restaurant. I love that place.
Good, but then you heard about the
the
mobile.
I've seen it. Never been in it though, thankfully.
Oh.
Did you ever end up there?
Yeah, yes, many times. That was the first time we came off the boat up to Clematis, And if you also asked for coffee after dinner, you went straight out to this wooden stuff.
I love that the innkeeper. He had this. They had the grumpy innkeeper guy.
Yeah, with the wooden club.
Yeah, exactly. He was hilarious. I loved him. That was great. So. We've been having a really long talk now. It's been amazing to have you here. And I just want to say, Viking Age is fascinating, and obviously it is a big part of your life. But if you could go back in time and be a fly on the wall anywhere during the Viking Age, what would you like to see, or hear, or taste, or smell?
I would love to be a buzzing fly, like a drone, above Stamford Bridge, 1066, the big battle before Hastings.
Yeah.
Because they all talk about Hastings, like the end of the Viking blah, 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 era and everything. But it didn't, the end was actually on Stamford Bridge. What happened, What happened? How did they look? Because there's a different tale that then would go further into the Hastings, that they were so, tired and this, that I would see.
Yeah.
That would be one
the
of them.
specific part, because I know which one I like, but because it's a fascinating story about the berserker of Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but I also I would also be a fly on the wall to see what actually happened, how far we came from Canada, and how far they came to Wineland. What was Wineland? Was it America? And did they grow, grape at there then? We don't do that today, and so much it hasn't changed. Where did they go? What's Wineland? I think it's 1,000 questions. I would like to be.
I guess it could be like one of those things, like a marketing tool, because they had Iceland, and maybe not the greatest marketing tool for that place. So they went to Greenland. So let's call it Greenland. It's ice everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. So you mean it's like false? It's like to find out a good name.
We need to get people to move here. There's lots of wine here. It's like Wineland. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe.
Come to Sun City.
Yeah.
It's just raining.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, all good answers, I think. One thing that came across my mind is like, I would like to, maybe not actually, maybe I would be terrified, but if I could see it, just to see like one of those like 9-year rituals at Old Uppsala.
Yeah, of course.
That could have been interesting or terrifying. I don't know.
When they put all the guys in the trees and the animals and whatever, what happened? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
insane.
And suddenly it all went away and the church was built on the same ground, but we're not sure.
Yeah.
But that's probably where the church are standing today.
Exactly.
And but that's exactly, no, it's a lot of things and from Birka I would also love to see how did it end, and they moved everything to Sigtuna, and to rebuild the city in another place, and why and how, and was it Danish that burned the whole thing down? We don't know.
Could be.
I have a dream, because it's the outside Birka in the sea. It's just 4 or 5 meters deep, and then you have clay. This very, very oxygen-less. It's really.
Yeah, it's very like
it's everything wooden stuff that is so well preserved in this clay, because it's have no oxygen in it, and we don't have any worms in Mälaren as well. Wooden worms.
No shipworms. No
shipworms, and so that would be something. It's not very deep. You should just go out there, and the government should put money to this and come take the clay away, because you will find stuff there that are so well preserved. Yeah. We actually haven't found any rig for a sailing boat yet. The sail and the mast and everything around it, we haven't found. We can only see it on rune stones, with picture stones, but we haven't found any yet. That would be amazing as well.
That could be something to experience for sure. All right. We ask all our guests this. Yeah. Because now you said fly on the wall. You gave us some really good answers to that, I think. But would you have wanted to live back in the Viking age?
I think
really?
So. I think so. But on the other hand, then I wouldn't, I wouldn't met my own daughter. Yeah. So
but I mean,
I would love to live for 3 months, and the only thing I would like to bring with me is penicillin or something. And some worm tablets.
But if you didn't get that choice, then would it have been a
yes or no?
Yes or no? Like I don't know.
No, of course not. But I would love to see it. I would really. I think I would love to see it so much. So I'm trying to live it as much as we can today. Taste everything that we know tasted like that. Yeah. Eat, sail, clothes, everything. Smell. Can make fire without matches or cigarette lighter. There is an urge to live there. Yeah.
So let's put this to the question then. Okay. All right, you can bring your penicillin.
Thanks.
And you can bring your daughter, and she's safe, so you don't have to miss her so much. Or maybe not.
I think I have to bring the whole family.
Oh, bring the whole family.
My wife will kill me if she hears this.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I would love to. That's a hard question. Yeah.
So why? Like, is there anything specific about the Viking Age lifestyle that you go like, yeah, I could go for this?
I think I'm much more interested in the life home than I am. I'm very interested in the cruises, when they go with the ships and they see everything. They go all the way to
fantastic stories. Yeah.
So, but it's not. I think the life on the farm, and go time to time into Birka to shop and to see the latest fashion, meet some new people, and then you just take the sleigh and the horse home back to the. But it must have been, as you can see, almost every of these bigger farms, they had some kind of, they had to defend themselves because it must have been very violent and not so. I think we are experts at romanticizing
it.
Yeah, because it must have been horrible. People weren't 30, 34 years old, then they were old.
Yeah.
But so I had to say I keep it as I answer in the next show.
Yeah. The only one of our guests who have ever said that they would, like, without question, want to live in the Viking Age. I think you know who it is, actually. I think you know this guy. His name is Faravid of Uklas.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, wonderful person.
Yeah, he is.
And I'm sure he really mean that as well.
That's what I think as well.
I wanted to mean it, but then I started thinking, I was like, no, I can't do that.
That's kind of that's sort of the way I feel about it. It's like, yeah, but there's so much stuff we have today that I don't want to give that up. No,
exactly. And I got this weird, really hard 20 years ago because we were I don't know, partying and touring and bathing in different cold lakes, and I got this ammonia. Is that called?
Yeah, pneumonia. Yeah.
Lung inflammation.
Yeah, pneumonia
in both lungs, and they say if you hadn't penicillin now, you would be dead. I was like, I would probably have a bath in the Viking Age as well, and then die.
Hey, back then you could die from a splinter. So
exactly.
That's like
that's
I get those like twice a day basically at home. So I would be dead by long enough.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, Faravid, a great guy.
Yeah, he's a great
toast
guy.
For Faravid.
Yeah, toast for Faravid.
Thank you so much.
Toast for you, Martin.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming. It was a fantastic talk with so much fun stuff, and looking forward to coming to the Mammoth Bar, of course.
Yes, thank you. You're more than welcome.
And we'll see about getting a house at the Grimgard Village, and we'll have some more beers.
Yeah, really. I love the project.
It's amazing.
You're living a dream.
Yes, we are.
Really nice.
That's a good end to this one.
I'm proud to be your friend.
Likewise. Cheers.
Can we do this the real way?
Oh, okay.
After me, as loud as you can.
Okay.
Eli Eli!
Eli Eli!
Oshi Oshi!
Oshi Oshi!
Pischebrum!
Pischebrum!
Jätteskum!
Jätteskum!
Skål!
Skål! Hey guys, if you enjoyed this episode, check out our other episodes on our YouTube channel, Spotify, and other podcast streaming services. And also, subscribe to support our work. Thanks for listening.